G'day guys, Ryan here, Chief Espresso Officer, and today I'm going to talk to you about a thing that's really special to me, uncomplicating coffee. I don't know, if you're new to the world of coffee, you probably don't know half the words like group head, portafilter, single origin, double ristretto. They're all very confusing terms that in the industry we use all the time. However, if you're just coming on board, getting into coffee for the first time, trying to order it, figuring out what you like, it can get very confusing, and most baristas don't help with that. So today I'm going to help you work out what's best for you and uncomplicate coffee. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's make the easiest coffee there is, and that is instant coffee. We've removed the label, but if you're an Australian, you probably recognise the colours and you know what brand it is. 3 simple steps. Add coffee, however much you like. Add boiling water. Stir, and your coffee's ready. Taste's not there. There you go. Super simple. But this is instant coffee. Coffee that allows big corporations to exploit the poorest of farmers, give you the cheapest quality coffee, and make you believe that this is how coffee should taste. But I'm not going to go into instant coffee just in this video. I've got another video lined up just for that. Yes, it's very simple, but I wonder if we can make something that is much, much better. So many people look at coffee and overcomplicate it. These come from the industry because people just want to make it sound better, want to be different. Back in the day, I remember my grandparents used to say, there's 2 types of coffee. It's black or it's white, and all that other stuff is just fluff. And to a point, it's still the same to this day and age. If you have cappuccino, latte, flat white, they're just white coffees. If you have it a long black, a double ristretto, espresso, romano, they're just black coffees. Fundamentally, it still rings true. However, I'm going to look at some ways that you can make coffee at home, uncomplicated ways of making coffee, and that starts with the humble French press. The plunger, or the French press, as it's well known, is actually from France. Believe it or not, it was invented by 2 Frenchmen in 1850s, and it quite simply is the easiest way to make coffee, short of just sipping coffee in hot water through your teeth. This is probably still one of the best ways to make coffee. It's the least sensitive, which means you don't have to be super fussy about the coffee that you put in there, the ratios, the heating times, all of that. It's just add the coffee in and then plunge it and drink it. Now, let's make plunger coffee. All right. Now, yes, there's plenty different ways to make plunger coffee, and yes, if you want to go down that path, you can use scales, you can heat up. There's a fantastic plunger recipe that I use, and if you want to watch it, you can view the video here, but we're talking about simple ways to make plunger coffee. And so the simplest way is just add some coffee grinds into the plunger, some boiling water into the plunger, agitate it, plunge it, get rid of the instant coffee, wait a few minutes, and then simply pour. Look, I didn't use any precision, and that is already 30 times better than any instant coffee I've ever tried. Now, you can still add syrups to it, you can add milk to it, you can add sugars to it, all of the things that you want to do with it, but it's just that simple. If you want to get started, get away from the instant coffee. This is such a simple way. Now, not only does it taste better, if you buy coffee with sustainability in mind, you're going to be supporting farmers, amazing farmers from the other side of the world who are lovingly tending this. Now, just like this coffee here, which comes all the way over from Honduras in Central America, from a farmer called Nelson Souza and his family, who lovingly tend to the crops each year and send it over to us to drink. That's the sort of special coffee that you can try, as opposed to just drinking your regular instant coffee. Another simple way of making coffee is through a process called cold brew, which is super easy, 3 steps, just like plunger, except that you do have to wait overnight. Once you've made it, you've got days worth of coffee that you can just add in. Super simple. 3 steps. Put your coffee in, add the water, pop it in your fridge and let it set overnight. And then, once it's ready, you've got coffee for days. Coffee on tap. Beautiful, add milk, add sugars, whatever you like. And if it's a stinking hot day, cold brew is perfect to cool you down. You can go as precise if you like, But if you're just looking for simple ways to make great tasting coffees, cold brew, perfect. Great, congratulations. You can now make fantastic tasting coffee super easily at home. However, what happens when you go out into the world and you have to order from that scary barista all those weird sounding coffee names that you don't really understand? Well, I got you covered. Let's break down some of the more complex coffee orders and show you how to get what you want really easily. Something a little bit controversial here. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that all coffee you order from the cafes, cappuccino, lattes, flat whites, they're just the same thing. And hear me out, because back in the day, maybe 30 years ago, when espresso became mainstream and everyone started up making their own coffee orders, you could get 3/4 foam, you can get half and half. There's all sorts of different ways of making coffee, but essentially, if they've got milk in it, these days, flat white, latte, virtually no difference. Cappuccino, a little bit of chocolate on top. There should be no other difference unless you're going to some weird places out there that make their own version of those. And then your black coffees, your long black has hot water in it, whether it's called an Americano, and whether you put the water in first and then the espresso on top, or you put the espresso in and then the water on top, pretty much the same thing. I mean, yes, there's complicating names. Yes, there's little names for things like a double ristretto, 3/4 full that they call magic. Yes, there's other ones where they call a schlong, which is a short, long black. They're making it really complex for you. If you know you want water and coffee, it's a long black. If you know you want coffee and milk, order a latte. That's middle of the road. If you want to add chocolate to it, you can just say a cappuccino. But please don't get confused by the millions of different names. It's just a whole lot of marketing, and at the end of the day, the ratio of coffee to milk or coffee to water stays mostly the same. So let's take it a little step further. If you want a hot white coffee, just remember one term and stick to it. I think flat white, probably the best term because it describes exactly what it is. It's a white coffee. That means 2 shots of espresso, or a ratio of 1:8 coffee to milk, and it's hot. No, I'm talking about the cold coffees at the moment. If you say latte in places like Italy, they'll just give you milk without coffee. So if you just say flat white, or even if you just say, I want a white coffee, yes, your barista may be a little bit confused the first time you ask for it, but they're smart enough and they're talented enough and experienced enough to understand that what you mean, a nice hot coffee with milk in it, and they will make you basically a flat white. I know a whole bunch of baristas are going to come at me now and go, oh, there's much more complex than that and stuff like that. Yeah, come at me, that's fine. What I'm trying to do is make this simple for people who are too scared to approach you, to ask for that double ristretto magic. It's just about making coffee uncomplicated. All right, now let's have a look at the coffees without milk. Again, there's Americanos, there's long blacks, there's schlongs, there's whole sorts of names that people use for the same term, essentially the same term anyway. But if you're drinking that plunger coffee at home and you want that basically the same style of coffee at a cafe, just order a long black. And if you want to add cream, if you want to add milk, you can do that, but just ask for a black coffee with milk in it, or a black coffee with cream in it. That way they know that they're making you a long black versus they're making you a white coffee. Now just remember, coffee isn't new. It's not this fancy new thing that just got invented a couple of years ago. It's been around for thousands of years. Yes, that's right, thousands. At least 1500 anyway. It's not a fad that's just started. We've made things complex maybe to the person because of the new terms that we keep coming up with, the new marketing ways, but we're just appreciating now what we didn't understand before about coffee. And I can tell you that even the most experienced, most expert coffee person in the world still is just scratching the surface of what we understand about coffee. Now, instant coffee is the new fad. That's only been around for 60 plus years, since about World War II. That's the fad, that's the new thing, that's how they've made it fancy to try and glam it up. But honestly, real coffee, ground coffee with added hot water has been around for centuries. And so don't let anyone overwhelm you with new terminologies, new jargons. No need to overthink it. just enjoy it and appreciate it. Now, the terminology and the information may change depending on where you are around the world. As I said before, different terms in different countries mean different things. So if you're out there and you've got a different way of making it, let me know. I'd love to hear how you make coffee that might be different. And if it is something that I've never tried before, I'm going to give it a go and make a video about that as well. So just let me know how you drink coffee, and if this information has been useful to you, think about giving me a like or a subscribe. Leave a comment in the section below. Everything really helps support this channel and what we're trying to do, which is about educating people about this glorious drink we call coffee. I'm Ryan, the Chief Espresso Officer. Enjoy your brew.